Hello again, everybody from Year 5. It's reading time once again. Another week already passed by. So we're moving on with the story now, really coming towards the end of the story now. It seems like we've been reading it forever with everything that's gone on, but we are nearly at the end of it now, and we'll crack on through that. So last time, in chapter 27, we had the bit where George had come up with his plan to try and rescue Eric. So he'd set off in the morning. Instead of going straight to school, he'd been to Reaper's house to spy on him, trying to use Cosmos to help him put into place his kind of evil plan. And then Reaper phoning in work, pretending to be sick so that he could spend the day trying to use Cosmos, even though the computer wasn't trying to help him. And then George had rushed off to school. He had managed to trick Reaper into turning up to school, and then Reaper had been roped in by the head teacher to judging the science competition, so he was going to be stuck at school. And then George had managed to find Annie from amongst the other schools, and he'd just told her about what happened to Eric, and we were picking it up from there today. So we'll carry on and get through this next part now. So, chapter 28. Annie hurried along the corridor after George. But George, she said, but where are we going? Shush, he said over his shoulder. This way. He was taking Annie towards the side door, which led out onto the road. It was strictly forbidden for pupils to go out of that door by themselves during school hours. If George and Annie were caught leaving school without permission, they'd be in deep trouble. Worse, much worse, they would forfeit their only chance to reach Cosmos, which would mean that Eric would be lost inside a black hole forever. It was vital that they got out of school as fast as possible. They walked along stiffly, trying to look completely natural and innocent, as though they had every reason in the world to be going in the opposite direction to everyone else. And it seemed to be working. No one paid them any attention. They were just approaching the side door when George saw a teacher walking towards them. Oh, he crossed his fingers, hoping they wouldn't be spotted. But it didn't work. George, said the teacher, and where might you be going? Oh, sir, said George, we're actually just, and he faltered and he ran out of steam. I left something for the science presentation in my coat pocket, sir. And his clear voice cut in. So my teacher asked this boy to show me the way back to the cloakrooms. Oh, carry on then, said the teacher, letting them pass. But he stood watching them until they disappeared into the cloakrooms. And when they peered back down the corridor, he was still standing there, guarding the school exit. The last children were straggling into the science presentation, which was due to start any minute now. Rats, said George, retreating back into the cloakroom. We won't get out through that door. So they looked around. In the wall, above the row of coat pegs, was a long, thin, rectangular window. Do you think you can squeeze through? George asked Annie. It's the only way out, isn't it? She said, gazing up at the window. George nodded grimly. Then I'll just have to, said Annie with great determination. I'm not letting a black hole eat my dad. I'm not. Now George could tell by the way that she screwed up her face that she was trying not to cry. He wondered, had he done the right thing in telling her? Maybe he should have tried to rescue Eric all by himself. But it was too late for these kind of thoughts. He had Annie with him now, and they needed to get on with it. Come on then, he said briskly. I'll give you a leg up. And he hoisted her up so that she could undo the catch, push the window open, and then slither through the narrow gap. She gave a small squeak as she vanished from view. George pulled himself up onto the ledge, and he tried to slide through, as Annie had done. But he was a lot bigger than her. It wasn't easy. He got halfway through, but then he couldn't go any further. He was stuck. One side of him dangling out the window over the street outside school, the other still inside the cloakroom. George, said Annie. She reached up and grabbed his foot. Don't pull, he said, gently easing himself through the gap, sucking in his breath as much as he could. With another little wriggle, he pulled himself free of the tight frame, and then he landed in a crumpled heap on the pavement. He staggered to his feet, then he grabbed Annie's hand. Run! He panted. We've got to get out of sight. So they sped round the corner, and they stopped so that George could get his breath back. Annie, he said. He tried to say, but she waved at him to be quiet. She'd got out her mobile phone and she was making a call. Mum, she said urgently into the phone, it's an emergency. No, I'm fine. It's not me. Yes, I'm at the school where you dropped me this morning, but I've got to... No, Mum, I haven't done anything. Mum, listen, please. Something's happened to Dad. Something awful. We've got to rescue him. He's going to outer space and got lost, and we have to get him back. Can you come and collect us? I'm with my friend George, and we're just near his school. Oh, quickly, Mum, quickly, hurry up. We haven't got long. Okay, right, bye. Well, what did your mum say? Asked George. She said, when will your father learn to stop doing silly things and behave like an adult? What does she mean by that? Said George, rather perplexed. I don't know, said Annie. Grown-ups have funny ideas. Is she coming? Oh, yeah, she won't be long. She's coming in a minute. And then, sure enough, just a few minutes later, a little red car with white stripes pulled up next to them. A sweet-faced lady with long brown hair wound down the window. She stuck her head out. Well, whatever next, she said cheerfully. Your father and his adventures. I don't know. What are you two doing out of school? Oh, George, this is my mum. And Mum, this is George, said Annie, ignoring her mother's questions and then wrenching open the passenger door. She held the front seat forward so that George could climb in. You can go in the back, she told him. But be careful, don't break anything. The back seat was covered in recorders, cymbals, triangles, mini harps, and string drums. Oh, sorry, George, said his mum as he clambered in. I'm a music teacher. That's why I've got so many instruments. Oh, a music teacher? Echoed George in surprise. Yeah, said his mum. Oh, what did Annie tell you I was? The President of the United States? No, said George, catching her eye in the rearview mirror. She said you were a dancer in Moscow. That's enough talking about me as though I wasn't here, said Annie, putting on her seatbelt. Now, Mum, drive the car. We need to rescue Dad. It's really important. But Annie's mum just sat there with the engine off. Don't panic, Annie, she said mildly. Your father's been in all sort of difficult situations before. I'm sure he's going to be fine. After all, Cosmos won't let anything terrible happen to him. I think you two should get back to school, and then we won't say anything more about it. That's the thing, said George, who wasn't quite sure what to call Annie's mum. Eric hasn't got Cosmos. He's been stolen. Eric's in outer space all by himself, and he's near a black hole. By himself? Repeated Annie's mum, and she suddenly turned quite pale. No Cosmos. But then he can't get back, and a black hole. Mum, I keep telling you it's an emergency, pleaded Annie. Now do you believe me? Oh, my goodness gracious me. Fasten your seatbelt, George, exclaimed Annie's mum, starting the car, and tell me where I need to go. George gave her Dr. Reaper's address, and she put her foot down on the accelerator so hard that the little car shot forward with a great lurch. As the red Mini zoomed through the heavy traffic towards Creeper's house, George explained as best as he could what had happened over the past 24 hours. So while the little car wove through the traffic across town, nipping in and out, much to the annoyance of people in bigger cars, he told Annie and her mum, who had asked him to call her Susan, all about going to see Eric yesterday to ask for his help with a science presentation. He told them about the mysterious note that he hadn't trusted, and Eric leaping through the portal into outer space, having to follow him, and how both of them had got sucked towards an invisible force, and how when the doorway appeared to save them, it was too faint, and only George had managed to get through. He told them about landing in the library, looking round to find that Eric wasn't there, how Cosmos had been stolen, how George had run after the thieves but had lost them in the dark, how he'd gone back to Eric to look for the book that Eric had told him to find, how he'd tried to read it, but he couldn't understand it, and then he had found the notes in the back which explained that it was possible to escape from a black hole, how he needed to find Cosmos, because although someone could escape from a black hole, he would need Cosmos to make it happen, and how he'd realised where Cosmos must be, and how he'd gone there that morning, and he'd seen Dr. Reaper. Reaper? Do you mean Graham Reaper? Asked Susan. She interrupted him. She swerved the little car round the corner. Yeah, replied George. Creepy, he's my teacher. Do you know him? I did once, a long time ago, said Susan in a dark voice. I always told Eric that he shouldn't trust Graham, but he wouldn't listen. Eric always thought the best of people. Well, until... And she trailed off. Until what? Piped up Annie. Until what, Mum? Until something terrible happened, said Susan, her mouth set in a grim line. Something none of us have ever forgotten. None of who? Said Annie, gasping with excitement at the prospect of a thrilling family story she hadn't heard before. But she didn't get to find out, as right then her mum turned into Creeper's driveway and parked the car in front of his house. That's the end of our chapter for today. So, usual procedure, questions will come up on the screen to have a bit of a go at. And as always, if there's anything you're unsure of or you can't remember, just watch the video back and pick bits and bobs out from there. So best luck with that. Like I said, not much of the story left now, so we'll be finishing it up very soon. And then I shall see you again on this next week for the next chapter. Okay, see you later.